Hey Peter, so this morning I just wanted to recap on something we looked at 2 weeks ago. If you remember, we decided after the Caleb Plant fight with Canelo, we looked at Canelo's future options and what he was going to do next, and we made some predictions, and we looked at, the middleweights that might come up, and Canelo, Andrade, who had a good win at the weekend as well against Quigley, and, the Golovkin possibility, and we looked at the light heavyweight scene and what he might do there if he wanted to go and clean up there, and we kind of decided, or I predicted, that he would hang around at super middle, having consolidated the division within 11 months, and maybe David Benavidez, who had another good win the other day, would be in the opposite corner. And we talked about the potential of where we was going to go from there in terms of, we looked at historical precedents for people like Roy Jones and George Carpentier moving through the weights, going all the way up to heavy and stuff, and we talked about the possibility of Canelo doing that. And the one thing we didn't mention was cruiserweight, and so in the week he obviously watched that video and decided that it completely blindsided me by announcing that he was jumping to cruiser, so jumping immediately to cruiser. So he's not going to hang around at super middle at the moment. After the Plant fight, he announced that he was going to sit down with Eddie Rene, so discuss their options and decide what to do next. And the next fight would be, in 2022 on the Cinco de Mayo weekend, where he traditionally fights. So he's gonna have a little layoff and then come back. And now he's gonna come back and fight Ilunga Makabu, who is the WBC cruiserweight champion, on that date. So he's jumping straight to cruiser, and this is a big jump. I mean, we talk about Canelo going through the weights. And let's remember, he started at, light middleweight, or junior middleweight as they call it in America now, 154 pounds, 11 stone. Then he jumped to middleweight, 160 pounds, 11 stone, 7 pounds. Then he jumped to super middle, 168 pounds, 12 stone. Light heavy, 175, 12 stone, 7. He's been to light heavy once. When he boxed Kovalev in 2019 to win that belt then, and then he dropped back down and unified the super middles. But you'll notice with all those weight divisions, there's a 7 pound or half a stone difference between those weight divisions. So he's gone up 7 pounds each time. Obviously, as I say, he made that jump to light heavy, but that's the difference between the divisions. Now he's going to jump all the way from super middle at 12 stone to cruiserweight. Cruiserweight limit is 14 stone 4. So that's 32 pounds he's going to jump, which is going to be absolutely huge. And the man does want to make history, and the man does want challenges, and that's exactly what this will be. Makabu is a very competent, very tough guy. He's got a good record. He's got 28 wins, 25 of those come by KO, so he can punch, as Tony Bellew can attest, because he's 2 defeats on his record. One was an early loss that we can kind of discount. The other was in 2016 at Goodison Park, when he boxed Tony Bellew for the vacant WBC cruiserweight title. Put Bellew down in the first with a left hook, but then Bellew came back and finished it in the third round. And became cruiserweight champion. So, and as Bellew can definitely attest, and that win will look even better now as it does over the years for Bellew. Makabu can really hit hard for a cruiserweight. So, Canelo's got his work cut out there. This is a tough guy. It's a WBC title, so, Canelo is so well in with the WBC, it's almost not surprising. But then again, any fight is kind of easy for Canelo to make, because he commands so much money that it's the fight that will make you for life, and that's why everybody is always chasing him. So looking at the rest of the cruiserweight scene and what Canelo is going to do after that, again, like I said, I'm famous for these predictions. The WBA champion is Arsene Gulrin, the IBF champion is Marius Bridis, and the WBO champion is Lawrence Ockerley. Marius Bridis is generally reckoned to be the best out there at cruiserweight. He's the Ring Magazine champion. But like I say, Makabu is no light touch. And this is genuinely going to be a really hard fight. It's again, you're going to have to back Canelo in this because it's difficult to bet against him, but he's really sort of loading the dice against himself with this big weight jump. He says he's going to come in at 180 pounds. He's not going to try and go up to the 200 pound cruiserweight limit. He's going to box about 180 pounds. So given what Makabu has done in his previous fights, that means he's going to be giving away about 1.5 stone, just under in this fight. So it's going to be very interesting how his skills translate. Makabu is 6 foot tall. Canelo, as we've said, is 5'7.5". So, you're going to see a big size and height disparity in that fight. It's going to be fascinating to see. And obviously the cruiserweight division is still suffering from when Usyk was the first person to unify all 4 belts on the cruiserweight division and has now moved on. So he was obviously the man, and we know what he's doing at heavyweight now, but it brings in these intriguing possibilities. That Usyk probably can still make cruiserweight. If Canelo does what he did before, if you remember when he was middleweight champion, unified the middleweight division, he then jumped up to light heavy, fought Kovalev, almost had a taster of that division, and then came down and unified the super middles. Now he's jumping up to cruiser. So will he just do a one-off kind of almost a smash and grab if he can get this belt, and then come back down and unify the light heavies and then move on. We shall see what his tactics are going to be. I suppose it all depends how this fight goes and how he feels at that weight. But, the intriguing possibilities, if Usyk were to, clean up at heavyweight and then come down for a catchweight contest against Canelo, I suppose all these things are opened up now, and it almost seems, within reach, whereas the big heavies that we've seen in recent years, the Tyson Furies, the Anthony Joshuas, the Deontay Wilders, just seem totally out of reach for people like that. It does make you wonder if he's going to jump a cruiser, and if he can do well at cruiser, and with people like Usyk going around terrifying the heavyweights, he could make that jump. And let's not forget Roy Jones. We talked about history before, when Roy Jones, went from middleweight 160 pounds and eventually went up and won that title from John Ruiz in 2003, a WBA version of the heavyweight title. Jones was 5'11", Ruiz was 6'2", but Jones only weighed just under 14 stone for that fight, 193 pounds he weighed in at. So he was considerably outweighed by Ruiz, but just outboxed him and just, outskilled him really. So in a way that kind of shows it can be done. And we've had people, as we've talked about in the past, like George Carpentier, going all the way from welterweight to heavyweight, winning world titles all the way up to light middle, and then just fallen at the final hurdle against Jack Dempsey in the heavyweight division. So, this type of thing has been done before. It will, Canelo is always chasing history. If he were to win this fight in May, he would become the first Mexican ever to become a 5-weight world champion. There are only 5 other men who have ever done that before, as in being a 5-weight world champion, which is Mayweather, De La Hoya, Leonard, Hearns and Pacquiao. It's a very illustrious company. So just a really exciting development. And, it's just interesting that however much you study boxing, and however much you study Canelo, it seems, well, I can anyway, still underestimate him, because I didn't see the cruiserweight thing coming. That's his next move, Ilunga Makabu, WBC cruiserweight title in May. Like I say, a massive jump in weight. He's going from 12 stone champ to fight the 14 stone 4 champ. And, more power to him. It just makes the game so much more interesting, and amazing to see him taking on these challenges and really finding a big challenge. Like going to light heavy would have been a massive challenge, and now going to cruiser, it just seems to blow it all out of the water. So fair play to him, keeps the game interesting. Just a little thought for Monday, and let's see where it goes from here. Thanks, Peter.